Welcome to the Boys in the Nonahood with Kevin Kendrick and Richard Aybar, where we talk about all things Lake Nona and Orlando with local small business owners and community influencers. Let's get to the podcast. All right, well, we're not going to go into those lines. Welcome to the Boys in the Nonahood. And we've done Mondays at Marlowe's. We've done In the Nona, and we've done all types of different podcasts. And this is our new one, but I have a guest with me. I got my sidekick. I got my brother from another mother, Mr. Richard Aybar.
Hey, thank you, Kevin. Thank you. That's a brother from another mother.
Brother from another mother. So Richard, people, they probably have heard of you. They may have seen your face, but I don't think a lot of people know who you are.
I think they know who I am. I've been with you for 6 years. They know who I am.
But I'm going to tell everyone who you are, and then I want you to tell everyone who I am.
You really want me to tell people who you are? Okay.
No, I want to. So Richard, here's what you don't know about Richard. So Richard is he's one of the coolest people in Lake Nona. He's definitely an amazing dad. But what you don't know is he's also one of the top real estate agents in not just Orlando or Lake Nona, but all of Central Florida. And so if you're selling a house, okay, or you're thinking about selling your house, this is who I would hire to sell my house. All right. So I'm just putting that out there right now.
I'll hire myself.
So that's my guy. So that's Richard Aybar.
So you guys probably know Mr. Kevin Kendrick, the mayor of Lake Nona. You know, Mr. Narcoossee News, Mr. Lake Nona, Mr. Nona Blue. He's all Nona. So I'm sure you guys have all known who Kevin Kendrick is for some time here throughout the community. He's very, very involved in the community, loves to give back, has a great heart, comes from a really good place, and just an awesome individual. My brother from another mother.
There you go. Well, our goal is, I don't know if we're going to do something like this every week or if we'll do it a couple times a month, but obviously we got things that we want to share about what's happening in Lake Nona. And one of my favorite things to do is to elevate other people in the community. And so because this is our first podcast, we don't have just one guest visitor and we don't just have two. We got 3 guests that we're going to bring out today. And we're going to see if Richard can guess who they are.
Oh, so you guys know, I have no idea who it is. They're all in the other room. They got me sitting in here. They got country music playing in the background, so I don't hear voices. So it's
you might hear voices tonight after listening to country music so long. So, but before we bring out our special guests, all right, let's talk real quick about Innovation High School. It's near you.
Yeah, very cool. And
it's going to be opening this year. What are you seeing happening over there construction-wise, and how big is this thing actually going to be?
Construction-wise, I was out there like last week. It seems almost pretty completed for the most part. It looks like but it's massive. Like it's really, really big. I knew it was going to be a big school, and I know we've all been hearing throughout the community that it's going to be a relief school for Lake Nona High, and obviously there's going to be new zoning, which eventually my son would actually go there. But it's huge. Like I was not expecting it to be that big.
It's like Fun Spot huge.
I think it's bigger
huge.
than Fun Spot.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's huge. It's huge.
And so, so what are your thoughts on how's that going to impact? Like, I know your son's in elementary school, but we've got an overcrowded high school, Lake Nona High School. You've heard Brandon talk about it, like 4,500 kids, 4,400. How do you think that's going to help Lake Nona High School and maybe traffic on Narcoossee?
I think it's going to help the traffic on Narcoossee. I think it's going to help the school. I think it's going to help the teachers. I think the students. I think everyone's going to really benefit from it. The school's just been overcrowded. I don't think the staff and the teachers there have been able to keep up with the capacity of it. Most of them, I'm sure, are probably overwhelmed and stressed out by these classrooms being overpacked and overcrowded. So I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be good for the community. I think the kids are going to get, more one-on-ones with the teachers. I think they're going to have more of like an intimate relationship with the school and the staff there. I think overall this is a win.
That's going to be awesome. So, so we can't talk about schools and not talk about houses, okay? Because 1, we sell houses, and 2, people move to Lake Nona for the schools. Let's get like a quick update on the housing market. Like the other day, in fact, yesterday, you're like, "Hey man, are you seeing what I'm seeing?" And I said, "I don't know, man. What are you seeing?" And what are we seeing in the housing market? As we're like in the middle towards the end of April.
So I think 2024 has been a unique year in the market. Every year as the market kind of changes, we see different trends, we see different things. I think 2024 is probably the first year that I could say that we're kind of just seeing like this roller coaster of just like up, down, up, down. It's kind of like we're not, normally we'll see like a little bit of a projection like this, or we've been seeing like a steady market. I think 2024 has been probably the most up and down market that I could probably say that we have seen. We have these months where it picks up and it gets crazy, and we're like, oh wow, look at this spike, and then all of a sudden we kind of just have like this little slowdown where it kind of slows back down. So me personally, I think this is going to be that year where we're going to see a lot of this. I don't think we're going to see this, so I don't think we're going to see this. I think we're just going to see this.
But if you were born in the 80s, you're going to see a lot of. We're going to pop it. So we're going to see a lot of roller coaster and popping. So
that's a good one.
I don't know if we can.
Told me you were doing that. I would have gone this way.
I could have passed it off to you.
Yeah, you're actually right.
So I passed it that way. So all right. So one of the things I want to do, and I told you this was a surprise, is in each week or every other week, whenever we do this, we're going to give you, the viewer, the opportunity to win a gift card. But you got to be the first person to guess who our guest is, okay? And so I'm always going to give 3 clues, and we're going to pause because we want to make sure he knows it, okay? So our first guest, I'm going to see if I can do this without even looking at my paper. Our first guest is a she, and she's married with children, all right? So your first clue, she's married with children.
That's hard.
The second one, your second clue, is she started her career in Orlando. She went to Atlanta. Then she went to Texas.
Oh, that's it. You gave it up.
Oh, but she can't say it yet, though. And then she came back to Orlando. All right? You got that one? So for those of y'all watching at home, she started her career in Orlando, to Atlanta, to Texas, and back to Orlando. Richard says he's got it. I got it. On number 2.
Actually, an awesome person, too.
And the third clue, all right, and I'm not going to give my third clue away yet because I got a prize if we get it right. So our third clue is she's a lover. Oh, I'm sorry. Cows love her. So our third clue, cows love her. Okay, now we're going to give you a second at home to write this and figure this out. Okay, and we're gonna see if Richard knows it, and I gotta see if our guest is here because we got them in other rooms. And so, all right, Richard, let's see. Do you know who?
I know who it is. I'm ready.
Who's our special guest that's gonna come through our door?
You want me to say it?
You get to say it.
Holly, Chick-fil-A.
Holly, Chick-fil-A.
Oh my goodness! All right.
Well, welcome. So we're gonna have you sit right here.
Oh my goodness!
And we just got confetti just going.
Holly, he gave it up when he said Atlanta and then Texas.
Yes,
I remember when you came when you were a special guest at our team meeting. That's actually how I knew that.
So you remember that?
I remember
that. That's good.
I got a pretty good memory.
So, well, Holly, first off, thank you for being our first guest on the Boyz in the Nonahood.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was the name of this podcast, but I love it.
Me and Holly just spoke yesterday. I had no idea.
I know.
So when you spoke to me, you knew you was coming on.
I've known. It's like, don't tell Richard.
I said, don't tell Richard. This is a surprise. And his
sneaky
face.
Holly, sneaky.
His face was like, he was excited to have Holly in.
Holly's awesome.
So you are coming up. We're 3.5 years of Chick-fil-A Lake Nona. Mm-hmm. Technically, I was going to be the first person in line at Chick-fil-A. We were the first person in line, but someone came in the second line, and I was the second person served.
We tried, Kevin.
Yeah, it's okay.
Plans don't always work
out. But it's now 3.5 years. You're coming up on it doesn't seem like 4 years.
Yeah, almost 4 years
4
in
years,
August.
wow.
4 years.
That's crazy. Time flies.
Crazy?
It doesn't feel like 4 years. If you would have asked me, I would have told you like 2 to 3.
Yeah.
I think I said 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And she said 3.5, coming up on 4 in August. Mm-hmm. And so
you should have known that as much as you go there.
I haven't been that much this year. I've been trying to not eat Chick-fil-A and McDonald's.
Because you can't get the healthy items. You have to get the nuggets.
I have to get the nuggets. So I should have had you bring nuggets.
She even knows what you order. Look at that.
Vet's like, don't let Kevin get the nuggets.
Yeah. So talk to us about Chick-fil-A Lake Nona. Like, how's it going? You're, obviously we know you had, every new business has stumbling blocks. Obviously traffic. You got a young staff. I don't think people realize how young your staff is. But tell us about where we are. 3.5 now, and how's everything going?
Yeah, so I think to know where we are, it's important to go to where we were. So when we opened this business, we hired about 125, 130 employees, and I had about 5 that had Chick-fil-A experience. And so out of all of those people, I mean, I'm working with over 100 people, no Chick-fil-A experience, never worked for the brand before. And so it took, about a year to 2 years to really get some tenure where they could understand our systems, our processes, and like figure out what we were doing.
Real quick, did you say tender or tenure?
Tenure.
Oh, tenure.
Yeah, tenure.
I heard chicken tender.
And tender.
He's thinking chicken nuggets.
He's like, oh, chicken nuggets. So it just not a lot of tenure in the business. But now, for almost 4 years in, we started with 5 leaders, and now we've grown that bench to over 25 leaders, all internally grown up in the business. So some of them started with me when they were 16, 17, and now they're kitchen directors in the business.
I don't think the average person would know that there's 100 and something employees.
Yeah, we're
at
up to
Chick-fil-A.
145 right now.
You kind of blew my mind.
So how many? So 145. How many of those are high school students?
Oh, probably at least 50.
So almost about a third of your staff.
Yeah, a third of the staff is high school. Another third is in the college age range, and then probably another third is over the age of 25.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
And how do you? So I remember what I was like in high school. I'm sure Richard would like to forget what he was like in high school.
Definitely.
What's it like managing
Never been a high
15,
school
16, 17, 18-year-old kids?
I think people would think it's a challenge, and it is a challenge, but I honestly feel like they want to be led. They want structure. They want somebody to care about them. And so if you actually are present with them, give them expectations and hold them accountable, and everybody else held to the same standards, they really do rise up. And so, and those that don't want to be held accountable, then they go work somewhere else, and that's totally okay. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was like, in 10 years from now, I will have probably had almost every single Lake Nona teenager work in my restaurant at some point. It's crazy, even just in 4 years, and I see them, doing leadership roles in other businesses and doing things, and it's fun to have had them in that sweet season of their teenage years.
So I think one of the coolest things that you do, and I don't know if other Chick-fil-A's do this, is as the school year is winding down, I know students that have been with Chick-fil-A for a certain period of time, they can apply for a scholarship, and you're able to recognize those students. Why is it important for you personally, to make sure that you recognize your employees and those students that are going to be getting scholarships?
Well, I was a student. I mean, I worked when I was a student, and I think it's just so amazing when the employer that you work for cares about you more than just what you can provide for the company, and they care about you personally. And so a lot of these, I would say most of them will probably never go the Chick-fil-A path. Maybe there's a handful that will, but the fact that I'm able to invest in them in their college journey as well. And so we actually just did our scholarship breakfast and invited all the families of the winners and treated them to Chick-fil-A breakfast and time with their child.
Y'all couldn't take them to Denny's or something.
Well, no, you know what? We could have done that, but it's just something about being in the unit. Yeah, but we had, I want to say, 24 scholarship winners this year.
That's a lot, because last year it's been
we had about 12. Yeah, and so we
Wow.
doubled this year, 24 of them, and different levels of amounts that they got, but I should have had that number. But I mean, it's getting up there.
So basically, the smartest kids in Lake Nona come and work at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think I have very smart kids that work for me. So
my cousin works for her too.
Yeah.
It's
true.
Yeah, my cousin works there.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
and
good.
he's doing a great job.
Amazing job.
He is. I'm
So
proud of him.
so speaking of kids, you have 2 little boys. Because I also know, Ray, your husband worked for Chick-fil-A.
Well, yeah, just because of me, but only part-time stuff.
Part-time stuff. But do you see? And I've been at Chick-fil-A.
He's not at Chick-fil-A anymore. I guess.
No. He does his full-time mental health counseling.
Yeah, okay.
Awesome.
Practice.
And,
Yeah.
But I've seen you at Chick-fil-A with the boys, and that's part of kind of the family. Do you ever foresee them having a future with the company?
If they want to. Ray would say, don't force them to do anything. But I think I could see my oldest doing it. He's very charismatic, very people person. He really is attuned to people's emotions. And so even just those strengths are coming out as a 4-year-old.
He's like his mom.
Well, I don't know. But he's just very good with people. And so I'd love for that to be the case, or he can go do something else. But I hope that I can show him you can have, I want my kids to still love me at the end of this.
Right.
And not feel like I sold out to my job.
Right.
And so I think if I can be a good mom and a good wife, then they'll see the potential in this company and not run away from it.
So I know Ray worked for you when you were first getting going.
Yes.
And he's a licensed mental health counselor.
Yes.
And I remember one day you and I were talking, and you actually said that he worked with some of the teens on site. Like, let's talk about teen mental health and why is it important for you? Like, and I don't know if you still offer this, but I just remember there was a time where Ray was meeting with some of your students. And why is that important? And maybe what are you seeing from the perspective of an employee with our teens in the community?
Yeah, I definitely think coming out of the COVID era, I feel like it's an era, there was a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, a lot of just like not angst in our teenage group. And I think as we've gotten further away from COVID, it's gotten a little bit better. But I think him being in the restaurant during that season was pivotal because he was able to really have hard conversations and good conversations with them. And now, even like, even though he's not in the restaurant, if someone's having a hard time, they know they can email Ray and he'll make some time for them to talk about it. And then he'll usually refer them to another therapist that they can trust, because he can't technically be their therapist,
right?
Because they work for me, and so, conflict of interest. But he at least can get them in the right direction if he thinks like, oh no, you should, and then that and maybe will be a little like eye opener for them, like, oh, maybe I do need a little more help than I thought.
Awesome.
So,
and I think that kind of rubs off on you too, because I mean, me and Holly have had some pretty heart-to-heart conversations recently, and you could tell like where her heart is as far as a leader, how she's passionate about her employees. You know, you care about what they have going on, not just at Chick-fil-A, but also outside of Chick-fil-A. And honestly, I just want to say on this podcast, thank you guys. It speaks volumes, and I appreciate everything you do.
It's my pleasure. Yeah, we want holistic health, and so a lot of like mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health is kind of the way we frame it when we're going through like leadership development as I'm growing leaders. And like you can be physically healthy but not mentally healthy, and we talk about how do you get healthy in all of the areas of your life.
Right.
So.
Awesome.
I need more Holly in my life.
Ray might have a problem. So
no,
well, Holly, we want to thank you for being our first ever guest on the Boyz and
it's
the
my
Nonahood.
pleasure.
Bring the chicken in.
Oh man, I should have brought chicken.
Next time it might be sponsored by.
Maybe
Chick-fil-A,
you never know. Anything could happen.
We'll take a picture with the cow.
Oh man, we'll have Charlotte have to plan that
next time. So all right, so what we're gonna do, Holly, we're gonna move you to here.
Yes.
All right, because our next guest. And Holly's the only person in this room that knows who our next guest is. All right.
Shit, they were outside together.
Everybody, just a reminder, you get 3 clues. All right. So 3 clues. And really this is for Richard, but Holly can play along too. So your first clue.
I guess the first one. So let's go.
He is married with children. All right. So the first one, he is married with children. The second clue is he loves to travel to Mexico and Peru. He loves to travel. Are you tracking? Are you tracking me? That's what Pastor Colin would say. Are you tracking? So he loves to travel to Mexico and Peru. And then your third clue.
Mexico and Peru.
Yo might call me the mayor of Lake Nona, but I call this guy the king of Narcoossee.
Yeah.
And he's also the person I call the smartest person in Lake Nona. Ooh. Richard's not 100% sure on this one. Do you know who it is?
The last one I think you're talking about me when you said.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Do you know? Do you? If you think you know, put it in the comments right now.
I can't guess that.
Put it in the comments right now, and you get a chance to. Hey, maybe you can get some free chicken tenders.
I know you can.
Do you have one guess? You got one guess?
Not one.
You don't even get one guess. Okay.
The king of no.
He's the smartest dude in Lake Nona, hands down, because of the things that he's opened up in Lake Nona. People flock to.
Yes, and he has something new coming too.
Florencia?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see. Do we have our next person? Is it Florencio Rodriguez?
So we're about to do an IQ test, brother. You're the smartest person in Lake Nona.
Yeah.
I would concur.
How are you, sir?
Good. Oh, brother, how you doing?
Thank you for inviting me. My
today's
pleasure.
Wednesday. I was about to say where the tacos, but that was yesterday. We should have done this yesterday.
Well, if he didn't get it on the next clue, I was going to be like, it's where we're going to dinner on Friday night.
Yep.
And we're going to need some reservations before you leave here today. So So Florencio, if you've enjoyed this podcast so far and you're thinking of buying or selling a home in the Central Florida community, make sure you click on our website below and send me a direct message. And now back to the podcast. Florencio, first off, I mean, I've said this multiple
King
times.
of Narcoosi, you got the label now.
King of
Might as well
Narcoosi.
get it tatted on your chest.
Yes. I want to see that. So, I mean, you have Don Julio's, you have Pisco Express, Pisco, Hot Taco. You have Pisco now in Sanford.
Lake Mary.
Lake Mary. You have multiple Don Julio's.
I got Sanford coming up with Don Julio, and I got a bunch of concept coming up that I'm working on.
Yeah. So when you were growing up, because you grew up in the restaurant industry, correct?
Yes.
Did you ever envision that you were going to own like over 10 restaurants and be like this restaurant conglomerate?
Oh yes, I always wanted to be like my father. My father was always, he ran a big restaurateur, family restaurants, and I always, follow his steps and really, it's why where I am because of my dad and my mom and all my family.
It's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so you got to ask questions.
We're
So
gonna get the backstory today.
So what was your first restaurant that you ever opened up in Central Florida?
I opened Don Julio Chickasaw in 2014.
2014.
10 years ago.
So
I actually remember when that opened. That was
Yeah.
crazy. To get in there was like 50 minutes, 60 minutes. It was
Like
nuts.
2 hour wait.
Yeah, I remember.
Got very popular.
So speaking of the wait, so during COVID, Don Julio's Chickasaw, you could get the margaritas in a
Yes.
gallon and a
Yeah.
half gallon. And I remember when my neighbor came home and he's like, he brought me I was like, you brought me like orange juice. And he's like, no, it's a margarita. And it's from Don Julio's. And it was so good.
Didn't you bring one to our house?
We brought one, so Yvette's in the room too. But so we actually went, we bought them, and we were buying margaritas. So let's talk about COVID, because you were very creative during COVID
Yeah,
with your restaurants.
we created, the to-goes. We really were not real strong in to-goes, like takeout. Our restaurants more like 10%, 15% to go. But I'm telling you, in COVID, we learned the way to design a way to be more better with the to-go and the takeout food for the restaurants.
And let's talk about the Lake Nona location, because this is I would presume that Don Julio's Lake Nona, that's kind of your flagship.
Yes.
And so what was the inspiration behind, or like, why did you want to open up in Lake Nona?
Well, I drive to Lake Nona before 2017. And really, Lake Nona was not what it is now. And, I always say, my next location would be Lake Nona. So Emerson gave me an opportunity to build the restaurant there at the Lake Nona, Eagle Creek. But I never thought it was going to hit the way everybody support me to be Don Julio. So I was surprised.
I remember when it first opened up, we were going to, and it was like, it's a 60-minute wait. And I'm like, we know Florencio. They're like, yeah, it's still 60 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, we tried that card. And now you live in St. Cloud, right at the border of Lake
I live in
Nona.
St.
I was
Cloud.
going to ask if you live in Lake Nona.
Oh yes, I live in Lake Nona. I love it. This is a great community, and it's great for my children. And this is where we want to be for a long time.
That's probably why you opened up the Don Julio's there.
And it's easy for me too, because
traffic. I don't want to go to
Narcoosi, I don't have to go
Chickasaw.
nowhere.
Let me just open up another
I don't want to go
store.
nowhere. I want to stay in Narcoosi. So if I start at Don Julio, I travel to Pisco Express, then I travel to Hot Taco, then I end up in Pisco Gastro Bar. Now that I'm working at the One Steakhouse, then I can go back to the One, and then I don't have to go nowhere.
All right, so
you're traveling like 3 hours a day.
Yeah. So let's talk about the One. All right. So it's an Argentinian.
No, it's steaks and seafood and cocktails.
But is it based on like a certain?
No, it's just I'm creating a concept to be very modern. I'm working to bring the best steaks, like cuts and aged steaks, and a nice piano bar and craft cocktails. And
Are you gonna have Salt Babe there?
yeah, salt. Yeah, I already talked to him in Miami.
So here's the. Are you allowed to say where it's going to be, or is
Not
that
yet.
still the best kept secret?
I'm still
Yeah.
working the deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm betting that it's going to be in the old Outback.
Stop recording real quick so we can get it. I'm just-
Yeah.
No.
He could tell you, but he might have to shoot you
Yeah,
later. Because
exactly.
remember, we are boys in the Nonahood. So
Yeah.
So do you have like an anticipated date for the One?
I'm probably I'm working on it. I'm still, like I said, doing the final touches on the negotiation. But you'll be the first one to know where it's going to be.
Well, I'll tell you
love
what.
it.
When you're ready to announce, we'll do here, and then maybe you can even bring some steaks and some
Sure.
seafood, and we'll sample live.
I don't eat seafood, but bring the steaks.
Hallie's going to come back and
I
bring
know.
some chicken tenders.
Love
And
it.
I'll bring my chef and my corporate chef.
Just
and
bring
he
the
will be
Polynesian
like-
sauce.
Oh
Would be
my
good.
gosh,
to
you're
do.
too cool.
Yeah.
This guy's way too cool
Yeah.
to be around.
so
When do you sleep?
that's my thing is that like you're always working,
Yeah.
but you also are always responsive.
Yes, and on these kind of things, you got to have a balance. First, I'm a believer and I'm a Christian. I got to believe that we have time for God first, and have time for the family, and have time for everything. It's a balance. You got to have a balance. It's not always about work and about making money and about open restaurants. About having a balance in your life, able to function correctly.
Yeah, no, and I
I'd love to
appreciate
see how
that
you
about
balance
you.
that. How many restaurants in total?
I got 10 restaurants right now, but through the family, we own a big chain of restaurants all over the United States. So we that's like a three generation.
And
Oh,
at
wow.
10 restaurants, how many employees is that in total? Do you know?
Well, right now, by the end of the year, probably about 500 to 600 employees.
You know what's cool about that, and I don't know if you ever think about that.
Holly said, ugh.
And I don't know if you ever think about this too, but that's 500 people who you're providing jobs to.
Yes.
Yes.
There's days that you might walk into the mall and there's your employees are making purchases. They're purchasing from Publix, so they're putting back into the community. And I always hear the naysayers, oh, we don't need another restaurant, or we don't need another Chick-fil-A or fast food or what. But what they don't realize is that's providing income for people to now go out and spend, which provides tax dollars, which it's that
Back to the
cycle
economy.
effect.
Yeah.
So this is the one question, we talk quite a bit, and I've never asked this question. What was kind of the inspiration behind Pisco?
Behind Pisco was we love Peruvian food. My wife, we used to drive to Miami once a month to eat Peruvian and kind of get away from Orlando with the kids.
So you just like,
Aventura.
hey, let's go to Miami real quick
Yeah.
for dinner. And
We spent the weekend in Miami, Aventura. We used to go to Bayside and walk around. And I say, you know what? Let's just bring a camp set like this to Orlando. And we picked Lake Nona. So it's why we brought
'Cause you love
Pisco.
Narcosi.
Yeah.
We love
But
Narcosi.
people are coming from all over the city to come
Yes.
to Pisco.
Yes.
Like it's
Yes.
You know, I haven't
It's
been
really
there yet.
good.
Yeah, it's
I haven't been there
fantastic.
yet.
oh my
Pisco?
gosh,
No, I haven't
really?
been there yet.
Oh my
I was-
gosh.
No, I haven't been there yet.
We
I was
gotta
just-
take you, Richard.
I was just there.
Oh my
I had
gosh, get
I had the
ravioli
red
with the
snapper,
pesto.
Yes.
the fried red snapper.
Yes.
That was so good.
Holly
it's
knows
delicious.
the menu. She said, "Get the ravioli."
Get the ravioli. I told him I was dreaming about it the other day.
You know,
I was like,
and,
I
and,
need to
and,
get
and I was kind of worried a little bit, not very concerned about the upscale restaurant in Lake Nona and thinking about the pricing and all, but we serve quality. We serve quality meats, quality seafood, the best service. We got, we train our servers and our chef. We bring fresh products. And really, Lake Nona took it real well. I mean, they like that. They like to have a good steak. They like to have a good seafood and a great cocktail.
Kevin likes a tomahawk. You got a tomahawk there?
Well, yeah, we do.
Oh, they got
They're
everything.
gonna have
So,
everything. Yeah.
so well, Florencio, one, we want you to come back when it's time to announce the
Yes,
one.
I will. You'll be the first
And-
one to know.
Oh
Kevin,
my
you know
gosh!
that.
Well, you
We got
were
a
the,
kitchen right here. Bring the chef.
I will.
yeah,
Cook it up
we got
right
a
now in
kitchen.
the back.
Yeah, we can actually, and we can cook it here. We'll invite Holly back. So,
Ooh.
so what we're gonna do? We got one more guest
Good
for
Polynesian
Richard on our first podcast, the Boyz in the Nonahood. And so, Holly, we're gonna play musical chairs.
Yes.
We're gonna move Holly out of the frame, and we're gonna move Florencio over. And while Florencio's moving, so we get 3 guesses.
Okay.
All right, and sticking with the theme, our first clue for those.
Now I feel like it's all restaurants.
The first clue is he's married with children. Love and marriage,
I
love.
just love that show.
I did too. So first clue, married with children. You want to take a guess? No.
Richard Aybar.
Second guess is he's Mexican with a little Greek.
Okay. Hit me with the next one. I don't know.
He doesn't know. So he's Mexican with a little Greek, and you're going to get that in a second.
I'll be like
You're gonna-
Joel.
You never know. So, and then you always hear Yvette say, you got to do the heart work before you do the hard work. All right. So this guy has a big heart. Now, you can't guess yet because we got to give them a chance to fill up and, see if you can guess. And we want to see if we can give away a gift card. But I'm scared with this. This is cool, man. I got one more confetti, man. He's the confetti cannon king. And I was like, it'd be cool to have.
Yeah, me and your wife spoke about this earlier. She said somebody's got to clean this up.
Yeah. I think
no one knew when they signed up for the podcast that they actually have to clean up the confetti.
Yes. The third guest gets to spin. So who's your guest?
Joel Diaz.
Let's see who's the coolest Greek Mexican out there. What's up?
He made it rain on you, man.
Yes.
Greek was a great hint.
Yes.
It actually was. When he said Mexico with a little Greek, I was like, well, I don't know anybody that's Mexican and Greek, and then it clicked. What's up, bro?
How you doing, sir? Good to see you.
Well, man, I'm so glad.
How you doing?
One.
And then the big heart, another one was, come on.
Yeah, that was a good one too. Crazy part. Look at all this confetti.
Nice. I like it.
But we're not really going to talk about Little Greek.
Okay.
All right. So, almost 2 months ago, and it's not uncommon because me, you, my wife, and your wife, we have a text thread going. So, so I get a text at about 11:30 at night, but I didn't see the text till 4:00 in the morning. And I saw the text, but I had my glasses on. I was like, oh, I wonder what they want plans for tonight. Right. And so I go to walk the dogs, and about halfway through walking the dogs, I was like, let me look at the text. And it's a text from Crystal, and it said, Joel's had a massive heart attack. We're at Advent Health. And I don't even know if she wrote help or whatever. So, of course, my heart sunk. I worked it out. We went to...
I didn't even know that's how you got the text. Though.
Yeah, she sent me a text. So, according to Crystal, she said you said text Kevin and Yvette. And so, long story short, I pick up your boys. We go to the hospital. Yvette, miraculously, her schedule clears out. So, she's able to go and support. Cancel. Yeah. And so, and I won't lie. Like, I go in there, Crystal's just in mourning and grieving. And, you had a massive heart attack.
Yes.
And so let's talk about your heart attack. Because
absolutely.
Guess what? You're here.
That's I love when people go, it's good to see you, Joel. I'm like, it's great to be seen. Trust me, I'm very fortunate to be seen. But definitely it's a miracle. So what happened is I was doing some work and I had a heart attack in the Waterford Lakes area. I got taken to Lake Nona by an ambulance, but that is the last I remember. I was on a medically induced coma Wednesday, Thursday, and pretty much most of Friday. And unfortunately, they told Crystal, like, he's not going to make it. We don't see he's going to make it. And if he has any family, they should come up and say bye to him. So my family actually drove up from Sarasota. You were nice enough to bring my kids over. So everybody came basically to say goodbye to me. And what's interesting is, like I said, I was in a medically induced coma, but I was coming in and out a little bit. And I kept seeing these images of my family. And I'm like, what is my family doing from Sarasota here? And then I saw my kids briefly. But my wife said that my body was literally just white as a sheet, was cold. They actually had warming blankets on me because I was so cold. I was dead. And through a miracle and through God, basically, He looked at me and said, "You're not ready to be dead yet, dude. You've got 3 boys and you got a life to live." And I came through Friday night is when I finally actually woke up conscious and realized everything that was in my arms, the breathing tube in my chest and everything. And I had this thing in my leg called an impala, which is basically a huge tube that goes all the way up your body into your heart and was actually pumping blood for me because my heart was not. And little by little, to the strength of honestly, God and Crystal my wife has been amazing through this whole thing. She was there nonstop. Pretty much I had to send her home finally to say, you need some rest, get out of here. But she's been so supportive and helping with this whole thing. And luckily through just patience and hard work, I managed to be here in front of you guys right now.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy about this story is, like, I hear it and you said, so you were in a coma, but you said that you were laying there and your family was there. So you weren't conscious, but you saw your family.
Like I said, I kept coming through and
you saw images.
It was almost like a cartoon, honestly. And I remember seeing this image and I was like, I gotta remind myself to tell Crystal that I'm seeing things. But what's interesting is, I guess I asked my mom if I could have a pen, and I wrote in Spanish on a piece of paper, "¿Qué pasó?" which is Spanish for what happened. Because I had no clue why I was there or what was going on. And my mom, to this day, still has a piece of paper that says, ¿Qué pasó? And it's really written in Spanish and very neatly, which I don't even write neatly. But I was able to write that out because, I really had no idea what was going on.
So I remember that first day. Crystal's like, "Do you want to go see him?" And I was like, honestly, I was like, no.
Right.
And she's like, and so, and you were just laying there, but kind of to the point, you're borderline morose.
Yeah.
And I remember his eyes were fluttering that day, and of course, I made a joke, and I'm not gonna say what the joke was, but I was like, but I said that joke to you later.
I could see that.
But ultimately, okay, your heart was damaged severely, so now you it has to calm down. So you actually had like almost a week after your heart attack where you had to basically just rest and sit at the hospital. And then all of a sudden, you're going to have open heart surgery.
Yes. And, I got this crazy idea. I'm like, well, hey, I'm so much better now. I can probably leave here now and everything's going to be fine. And then when the
I
day...
can see you saying that.
Yeah. And then when the day the doctor's like, well, we're going to release you from here. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And they're like, to move you down to another floor. I'm like, I mean, I got out of the women's center, which is, a positive thing because I was getting ribbed for that a lot. But
that was another good joke.
I heard that joke. Yeah.
But I got moved out of the women's floor just for some more recovery, but not ICU recovery. So in ICU recovery, you basically have a nurse just for you alone, nothing else. So they moved me to another floor where basically the nurse had maybe 3 or 4 patients, but they wanted me to get my heart even stronger for what they call a CABG, which is they go in and they basically replace all your arteries that are going into your heart with other arteries in your body already. So that's when they went through and they harvested arteries from my leg, from my chest, and replaced me, which is incredible because now I have absolutely no blockage whatsoever. I'm 100% heart-wise. I'm actually probably stronger than I've ever been for the past 10, 11 years because my doctor's like, you've had issues with your heart for the past 10 years. You just didn't realize it. You've been living like when you kept getting tired is because your heart was telling you that it was getting messed up. It's like, so now when you recover from all this whole thing, you're going to be stronger and faster than you've ever been. You're going to be shocked.
I just want to see you run faster.
Right, yeah. Well, my wife has spent over more than $1 million at the hospital, so I am the $1 million man.
You are the $1 million man.
I don't know if you guys remember that show, though. Probably
I
not.
do.
Right?
Kevin, this guy's like the actual living Iron Man.
Yes. Yeah,
Like
true.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
True.
Well, one last question, and
Sure.
and and I think it's funny because Florencio and Holly, I know are people of faith, and I think it's interesting that people literally all over the not just in Lake Nona, but literally all over the country were praying for you because it kind of went out.
You got was amazing.
Yes.
So and not just spiritual support, but even people taking care of your family. Talk about how the community rallied around you and your family and what that meant. Because what people don't realize is you've been supporting this community for the last 10 years. You've been like during COVID, you were doing stuff for families. Before that, you were doing stuff with the schools and the teachers and the hospitals. And now all of a sudden, you were on the other end receiving.
Yeah, now you're getting me a little teary-eyed, but honestly, the support from the community, I can't even talk more about it. So I said this little story a while ago, but 25 years ago or so, actually 20 years ago, because my son was now trying to figure out where he was going to go to school. He's 20 now, so we were trying to figure out where to start him in school. We're living in the Chickasaw Trails area, and my wife's like, "Well, I heard of this new community called Lake Nona that the school has an A rating and it's supposed to be a really good school." I'm like, "Well, let's move there," and we moved here. And it was a little rough at first. We're a working class family, and we're like, it's kind of expensive. But I'm like, you know what? I really like it though. I like that I know my neighbors. I like that the whole community, I kind of know who they are, and we do a lot of stuff as a community and stuff like that. I really enjoy that, and we stayed. And honestly, that's the best part, that we stayed, because when this happened to me, the community surrounded my family so much. And I care about myself, thank you. That little part of selfishness on me, I love the fact that people kept reaching out to me, and I could feel the prayers. I honestly could feel the prayers. So that part was really great. But even more was that people were giving my kids rides to school. People were taking my kids out. My son was stepping up as an older brother and taking his younger brothers to the gym to work out, to go eat, to all this other stuff. So I saw all of that together. But there was a meal wagon that started when I first got home for 2 weeks straight, Miss Patricia and the community overall were just bringing us food every night so that my family didn't have to worry about cooking. I mean, it was incredible. The support has been amazing. To this day, I can't go anywhere without somebody going, "Oh my gosh, we're so glad to see you." And that's where that joke is, "It's good to be seen," came along, because I had to say it so often, but it's because the community has been just immense. It really has been. I mean, I can't say anything else. I've enjoyed just meeting new people that kind of knew me but not knew me, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we've heard about you." And I was like, it's just incredible to me. It really is.
Earlier, I said you should have got the King of Lake Nona tattoo on your neck. I think he took it.
Well,
Sorry.
what's funny is when they were in the waiting room together, I said, "All right, guys," I said, "what you don't really know is that you guys are going to, Florencio is going to be interviewing Joel, and I'll let you guys talk."
You know what?
now."
Cook off right now.
We exchanged numbers. Don't worry.
We can. So we need Greek Peruvian chicken nuggets. That's what we need. We need Greek Peruvian chicken nuggets, or maybe.
Well, we'll put a little taste of Puerto Rican. Too.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go. My wife was Puerto
down.
Rican, so.
Puerto Rico outside.
Let me tell you what. When we went to Puerto Rico, it's the tourist trap, Rice's, and we knew it was kind of like it was going to be a long wait and all that, but it was hands down the best mofongo in Puerto Rico that we had. It was so good. It was worth the wait, and it was known as the tourist trap. But it was absolutely. So we like
go check it out.
we like good Puerto Rican food.
I used to go all the time, but I need to go back.
Oh, we going in a week.
Yeah, I saw you walking on Old San Juan. It's nice.
We always, when we travel, I think next time my wife has Old San Juan out because we've been there for like 4 times in the last 3 years.
I love going to the country. I love going like in the mountains.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Rincon next time. We're going to the west side.
When they were sitting in this chair, did they able to not do this? Because that's all I want to.
God.
That's all I want to do right now.
I'll be honest. The whole time you was talking, you had like a purple one hanging.
Really?
It looked like you had a confetti.
I actually put it on. I should have put it on me.
The funny thing is my
sorry about the
ADHD, like it's taken me everything not to touch the confetti because I really want to touch the confetti. So, but hey, gentlemen, thank you guys both so much. Holly, thank you so much for joining us today. And so, hey, if you like what you saw today, drop in the comments box below. Hey, who should we have on our podcast next? Or what businesses should we have?
Kevin next?
Should he surprise me? No, because guess what? I got it covered. That's right. So,
he knows.
all right, guys. Hey, have an amazing day, and just remember the boys in the hood, the Nonahood.